You're listening to the Tao of Indifference, sex, dating, and relationship advice for an indifferent world. For more advice and tips, check out taoofindifference.com or follow us on Twitter at indifferent_D.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to the Tao of Indifference. I am your host, Demetrius. I am joined by my co-host, my bro-host, with Delaney. Delaney, hello. Today we're going to be talking about how to introduce your partner to your friends and family. But first, we're going to be answering questions from the relationships Reddit. Not the relationships advice Reddit, but specifically the relationships Reddit. So, without further ado, Delaney, will you take it away with the questions?
Yes, I will.
Alright, let's go.
Question number 1. I don't want to meet my girlfriend's old friend with benefits. Does this make me weird? And this was submitted by Big Fat Elephant. Okay, so me, girlfriend wants me to meet her old fuck buddy, thinks I'm overreacting for not wanting to. Am I justified?
Yes.
100%.
You're 100% justified.
Yeah.
But, to be fair, is it possible that this person is more friend and less fuck buddy? Because that's where it comes down to is, so if I was in a relationship and my girlfriend used to hook up with a guy, they stopped hooking up, but they remained friends, and they were friends longer before and after hooking up, I would maybe want to meet them, and in that case, that actually did happen to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with my first real girlfriend, she had a guy who she hooked up with, and then was friends before, hooked up with him, friends after, and by the time I had met him, they had been friends longer than they'd hooked up.
Yeah.
I still didn't want to meet him, but I was fine, I'll meet him. You are justified, but maybe you want to meet him. I wouldn't want to meet him.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it sounds like she's going to hang out with him anyway. And
it could be that she's trying to get your approval. Hey, meet him. He's not that bad. It was just a past thing, and now we're cool. He's cool. Yeah. You guys can be cool or something. No. Which someone told me that once. I was so mad. I'm like, why would I want to meet a guy you used to like, and then used to a month ago before we started.
See, that's too close.
Yeah.
If it was years ago, fine. But I think he's justified. I think it's all a matter of how long did she know him, how long did she know him before and after, and how serious it was. And,
I mean, they've only been together for 4 months, so
I wouldn't. At that point, I'd be like, are you going to hang out with him? In which case, I wouldn't be there. It's not about meeting him. I wouldn't make it about meeting him because it's not even a serious ex-boyfriend who changed your life. That I could see, and even then, that's still weird. All right, next question.
Okay, question number 2. Can I tell my significant other that I want him to come with me to meet up with a friend? Submitted by Darth Sarah. We have been together for 2 years and living together for 3.
Whoa.
We were roommates first. In parentheses. I
don't know why you got so much of a kick out of that.
I have an old friend from high school who called me up telling me he would be in town for a few nights. I wanted to know if we could meet up and catch up. I want to stress that it is purely platonic. So what do I do? Can I visit my friend without him? Or am I obligated to bring him along anyway?
Are you obligated to bring him along? No. Can you see your friend without him? Absolutely. This is a friend from high school, and you could just say, I haven't seen this person in years. I just kind of want to meet them one-on-one. It doesn't matter that they're a guy or a girl. You need to catch up. And that's different from, we need to catch up, but my girlfriend's here, and there's only 3 of us, so really it's sort of catching up, plus you're meeting my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Or boyfriend. Yeah, just tell him, look, this is the deal, haven't seen him in forever, completely, exactly how you phrase the question, and if he has a problem with it, then invite him, I guess. Or just say no.
Yeah.
It all depends on your relationship, but there's nothing wrong with meeting up with this person. If you really do intend to keep it platonic, and your friend also intends to keep it platonic. So, no problem there.
Okay.
You agree?
I do agree.
Awesome. I love agreeing. I love disagreeing too, so.
Yeah.
It's the main problem.
We may get there.
We may get there. All right.
Question number 3.
Final question.
Well, yes, but I like to say number 3.
All right.
Final 3.
You can do whatever you want.
I, 24-year-old male, am scared to introduce my 23-year-old female girlfriend to my best friend who is also a 24-year-old male because I think she might fall for him. And this was submitted by Guy Throw 1234.
Alright. Let's get into the meat.
Okay. My best friend is a guy I've known since the first grade. We've been close ever since then, and we've been through some rough times together over the years. I guess I should probably say before moving on that he's definitely much more attractive physically than I am, since it's fairly important to the issue at hand. Also probably more interesting, appealing, personality-wise, since I doubt it's a 100% physical thing that's going on.
Man, this guy
he sounds like...
He's got to get some confidence, but move on.
Okay, over the last couple of years, I've had 2 relationships end because my then girlfriends developed feelings for him and tried to act on them behind my back. In both instances, he rejected their advances and told me about them immediately. Obviously that hurt, but I moved on. Now, though, I'm in the beginning stages of a new relationship. We've been dating for a little over 2 months now, and I've met some of her friends, but she hasn't met mine. I'm not sure what to do about this, honestly. I don't think telling her my concerns is a good idea. Nothing good can come from it. How do I get over this fear and feeling of inferiority? What would you guys do in this situation?
Alright. What would you do in this situation?
What would I do
It's hard for me to imagine just because I want to be clear. I have friends who are better looking than me.
Yeah.
Like, objectively, they're better looking than me. Their faces are just more symmetrical.
Yeah.
I have friends who are more fit than me. I have friends who make more money than me. I have friends who, in some way, they aren't always the same person. Some of them are just, in society's views, are quote-unquote better.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the tallest, though, so that kind of wins. But in terms of, like, looks, money, education, everything. Like, I have friends who, are better. But there is no point in my life that I've ever thought, I'm going to lose the person I'm dating if I bring them around this better, quote-unquote, better person. So it's really hard for me to even imagine. Like, I cannot put myself in those shoes. I just don't have the lack of confidence to do that.
Yeah.
Have you ever had anything like that?
I felt like, there were points where I felt like a girl I liked or was in a relationship with, I felt like she would find somebody I know more attractive, or she already finds someone I know more appealing and more attractive. But I wasn't afraid to bring them around them. I just would get a little annoyed when they would like when they would laugh at their jokes harder than they laugh at mine or something. I'd be like, why is he so funny?
He's not really funny.
He's not that funny. But I think you need to talk to your guy friend first. Like, maybe you feel deep inside, maybe he didn't, reject him right away. Because if he did reject him right away, why do you feel fear?
Yeah, that's the thing, is that it has less to do with the question and more to do with what is Guy Throw 1234's deal.
Yeah.
And it sounds like to me that his deal really is that he is afraid. It comes down to being afraid of being rejected. Because if I'm in a relationship and the girl I'm dating tells me, it doesn't matter if this guy's my friend or not, that she wants to date someone else, I don't think that that's any sort of, that doesn't reflect on me.
Yeah.
It just reflects on her preferences. Now, if you are dating someone and you think that they will so easily, so quickly just say, oh, I'm going for the bigger, better deal, it has less to do with it. Part of it is your fear. You are living in fear. And the other part is maybe you're dating really terrible people. Because I've definitely encountered friends where I'm like, why do you think, or I've dated girls who are like, oh, I really like your friend, they're really cool. And I'm like, huh. But never to the point where they're like, I want to try to bang them, or I want to try to hook up with them. Yeah. There's never been that. And if it was, I would just think that I, dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
Because they're terrible.
Yeah.
You don't do that. You just don't do that, period. Especially if you're dating someone seriously, you're in a relationship. And the fact that he's had it happen twice leads me to believe that he dates really terrible people. That's it. Really. But, alright, I guess I have to answer your question. because I chose it. Why did I choose this question?
That is a good question.
I know, I picked it because it was so good and it made me think. So, his general question is, how do I get over my feeling of inferiority? Okay. How to get over it. Let's just tackle that since...
Okay.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. How do you get over your feeling of inferiority? Realize that the world is full of people that are better than you in one way or another, and some of them are better than you in every way that you can think of and every measurement that you measure yourself by. Just realize that. I don't know where you're from. It doesn't sound like you're... This sort of way of thinking leads me to believe that you live in a small city or a small town. Because if you lived in a big city, you'd realize that there are just so many guys who are in a better position to be like eligible bachelors than you. And I say that as someone who lives in New York City who dated very attractive girls, but there are definitely models in New York City who are wealthy and also smart. And I am at a disadvantage because I'm none of those things. Maybe the smart.
Well, yeah, I was going to say smart.
My point is that you have to realize that someone somewhere is better than you, unless you're like Michael Jordan. He's only good at the one thing. He wasn't a great baseball player, and he's not a good GM or a bunch of other things. Anyway, point being,
Michael Jordan has to do?
So you think about inferiority as I am less than someone, and you think about somebody who's great, like Michael Jordan. Jordan is
that's
the greatest basketball player of all time, arguably. Then you think about like, well, I'll never be Michael Jordan, right? But A-Rod is arguably better at baseball than Michael Jordan, right? Mm-hmm. Even with steroids and everything else. And Larry Bird is a better general manager of a basketball team than Michael Jordan. Yeah. No matter who you are, somebody's better at something else besides you. Yeah. So, get over it. Get over yourself. You're not that important. You're not that special. Knowing that is super helpful because you will get rejected and you'll be dating a girl and she'll move on to some other guy who maybe is taller or more attractive or more fit or more successful. Or maybe he's less and you're just confounded by that. Maybe he's just funnier or smarter or more charismatic. Whatever the point is, the best way to get over your inferiority is to not dwell on the fact that someone is better than you in some way. Yeah. Someone is going to be better than you everywhere you go in the world. No one is better than anyone else objectively. Like the entire
across the board.
Yeah. There's no one in however many billion people live on the earth. So now that we got that out of the way, just embrace your inferiority and assume that the people who are with you want to be with you. And if you're wrong, they have to prove you're wrong. Don't prove yourself wrong. Stop trying to make yourself be the inferior person and just let people tell you that. And until someone, like, it's possible, I don't know what happened with your friend, but who knows? I mean, I've never heard of that. Yeah. And, the people that I know, like, the people in my life are arguably incredibly successful and, like, I've heard of, like, casual hookups switching who they casually hook up with, but never girlfriends. So, yeah. Something's fishy there. So, what would you do in this situation? Introduce her. I would introduce her I would introduce her as soon as possible. The reason why is to just get it out of the way. If this is a girl who's going to leave you for your friend, you want to not be dating her. Your friend is a huge, huge advantage. He is helping you get rid of people who don't want to date you. Yeah. That's awesome. You know how much money you're going to save having this friend? I wish I had a friend like that. God, I wish I had a friend who was that much.
The loyalty test of friends?
Right, he's the loyalty test. Like, you never have to worry about, is she really into me after she meets him? If she's into you after she meets him, she's a keeper. Or for the time being. Who knows? Yeah, like the rest of it. What do you think?
I think that's
he's the loyalty test. Yeah. Absolutely. Because imagine he doesn't introduce her, and one day they run into him, and she's like, oh man, I just have a feeling in my loins. I have to sleep with your friend. Sorry. It's like a year later. Just get it out of the way early on. Yeah. Plus, it sounds like part of me is doubting, like, the friend, like, maybe he did try to hook up with them. Well, maybe he didn't, and the fact that he told you, I don't know. Let's assume that the friend's truthful. Yeah. And the fact that he told you means that he's a good dude. It sounds like you guys have been through a lot together. So he's a great loyalty test. Keep him around. Introduce him as soon as possible. All right. Agreed. Can we move on to the topic at hand? Yes. How to introduce your partner to your friends and family. How did you, before we dive in, how did you introduce your partner to your friends and family?
I like to talk about them beforehand.
You been reading my notes?
No, I didn't.
Keep going.
It read it upside down.
So for your girlfriend, who we won't bring up by name,
yeah,
she's lovely.
I talk to my friends or family beforehand. I'm like, yeah, I like this girl, and I'll tell them a little bit about the person. Not all, so when you meet them, everything about them. They have nothing to say, but just give them a little.
So you like give them a preview?
Yeah, a preview.
It's like next week on Mad Men, like one of those.
Yeah,
next week on Delaney's girlfriend. All right, so you give them a little preview and you try to prep them.
Yeah.
All right. How did I meet your girlfriend? I forget.
I don't know.
I forgot. I know how you met my girlfriend.
I went to we went downtown.
You like went to meet up with me and she was there.
Yeah.
I thought it was my brother.
Yeah.
That was it. I did everything all wrong when I introduced my current girlfriend to my friends and family because I either surprised them or surprised her.
Oh.
So like, one of my closest friends was literally at my apartment, in this apartment that we're sitting in right now.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, we want to go to your neighborhood and get some food," because I live in a neighborhood that has really good West Indian food. I'm like, "We want to go to this place." And I was like, "It's right across the street. Let's go." And then my girlfriend was texting me, and she's like, "Are we hanging out today?" And I was like, "Yeah, you should come over."
Oh.
And like they were sitting in my living room when she showed up, and she was all like, "Oh, I just got off the train. Oh, hey."
Yeah.
And then, well, when she met my mom, she was like, she knew she was meeting her. She brought her a cake so she could prepare.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. All right, so, but all the other times it was like, surprise, my friends are here. Or I surprised my friends, like, surprise, my girlfriend's here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those didn't work out too well. But worked out in the long run, I mean.
Yeah.
So, on to the topic, how to introduce your partner to your friends and family. I know how to do it now because of how poorly I did most of them.
Yes.
Except for my mom. My mom was the best one. That's the one that matters the most. So, the first thing you do, and you covered it already while you were reading, your friends and family should know your partner.
Yeah.
So, in the case that you did, where you're like, "Oh, I'm seeing this girl, I really like her, etc., that was perfect. And that's the best way to do it. And in that way, eventually they'll say, "Oh, when do we get to meet her?" That's how you know that they know that she exists. When they finally say, "Oh, when do we get to meet her?" You've done a great job.
Yeah.
So, number 2 is pick your location wisely. What I mean by that is, if your girlfriend's meeting your family, maybe you don't want to do it at a bar where you get extra rowdy. Like in my case, I go to a bar, Triana's East. Please go visit them if you're in New York City. Anyway, so I go to Triana's East, and I go there and I get like wasted when I go there. I'm doing shots and, drinking beer, doing shots with the bartenders. I probably wouldn't introduce my girlfriend to my mom at Triana's East. Mm-hmm. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but that's where I would introduce her to my friends. If I was introducing her to my mom, it'd probably be at a dinner or a lunch, which is exactly what I did.
Yeah.
In that case, it's all about like where you're doing it. You usually want to do it on neutral ground. Like when I met my girlfriend's mom, we met at a restaurant in Flatiron. I believe it was a tapas place because, one, there was alcohol, but it wasn't like the central theme of the night or the lunch.
Yeah.
It was also very much a place that she enjoyed, and I'm comfortable with tapas, and yeah, it was just a nice, like, level playing field.
Yeah.
The third one is set expectations for your partner and your friends and or family, because I think you said it yourself, where you said you sort of prep them.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important because your friends and family should not only know this person exists, like where you're going to meet them, but what the expectations are. If you have a partner who's quiet, hey, they're quiet, they're not like being rude or mean. If they look like they're angry all the time because they have a resting bitch face, let your friends or family know, and vice versa. Like if your friends have resting bitch face, just so that everyone's sort of aware and like, oh, this person is this way. They're not trying to offend me or whatever. This person's overly sarcastic. This person has a very dry sense of humor, or this person has one eye. You should probably cover that.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, you have one eye. That's really awful.
You don't want to be surprised by
this person has leprosy. Well, I don't know. Wouldn't maybe want to introduce them to people if they have leprosy. But point being, give them a warning, like anything that they should know, like they don't drink. They have these allergies.
They're vegetarian.
Vegetarian, as long as if you're going to a bar,
bistro,
if you're going to a bar, no. If you're going somewhere where it's applicable and like appropriate to where you're going, absolutely. Yeah. Whatever they would need to know during that meeting, consider it of the person and where you're meeting. If they're allergic to garlic, don't take them to an Italian restaurant, so on and so forth. Number 4 is introduce them. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out. So I have a very large group of friends. You know this.
Yeah.
Everyone who knows me personally knows this. I have a huge group of friends, like 22. There's like a core of 20 people.
Yeah.
And like when you include friends and friends of friends, it's like 50 people. So when you take your partner to meet your friends, or if it's family and you have a big family, make sure you introduce them to everyone, or at least everyone that is important to you personally.
Yeah.
So if I'm at a huge party, I might not introduce you to friend to friend to friend, but I will introduce you to that one friend that I'm really close with, and I'll try to get as many of those people as possible. Make sure you introduce them. Hi, this is partner, this is friend's name.
Yeah.
And you have to do that. You can't just say, oh, look, she's here, or he's here, and expect everyone to be like, oh, I'm so happy to meet you. You're the best thing ever. Like, introduce people.
Yeah.
I met your girlfriend. I think I shook her hand.
Yeah?
Probably. I like to shake hands with people. I like to shake hands with women because they never expect someone to shake their hand.
Yeah.
Because I like to show them the same respect I would a dude.
Yeah.
Finally, 5 is facilitate conversation. More important than anything else, once you introduce them, the easiest way to facilitate conversation is, oh, that interest that you have? They also have that interest. Or, that show you watch? They also watch that show. That thing you do? They also do that thing. You have to figure out what those things are, of course. I mean, hopefully if you're dating a person long enough, you know what those things could be. And if you're friends with someone long enough, you know what those things are. And that's a really good way to tell who you should also introduce them to. If you don't know enough about a person to facilitate a conversation with your partner, they're probably not your close friend.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, that's really the easiest test. My favorite thing is, did you see XYZ? That's like a current thing? Because everyone has seen it, or everyone has heard of it.
Yeah.
So what about you? Do you have any tips? I'm putting you on the spot. I didn't tell you I was going to do this.
Okay.
Do you have any tips for introducing your partner to friends and family?
I have a tip as the person
being introduced?
No, the person who is receiving the introduction. Like, find the friend or find the family member.
Okay, go for it.
My tip is to bring up, and not be overly obnoxious about it, but bring up how much great things you've heard about them, or like,
oh sure,
oh yeah, he's told me that you're interested in this, and I definitely want kind of facilitate, but not really.
Oh,
how
they as a friend or family facilitate. Yeah. Oh, that's a great idea.
I'm really happy you two are together.
I mean, that's a little aggressive.
Well, yeah.
Because he was doing so bad before he met you. Oh man, that's what it sounds like. Oh, I'm so happy you guys are together. Because he was a wreck. Oof. Anything else, Delaney, before we wrap up this podcast? I think we've covered everything. I'm trying to think of anything else that I may have missed. Even though I write these tips, I always think of something last minute.
After facilitating the conversation, stick around a little bit, because sometimes because when you do it, and then they may have like a 30-second conversation, but once you leave, it's kind of awkward. Because I've been in that situation. It's like, we just made a comment, and my girlfriend just walked away, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, I'm actually really bad at that.
Yeah, that's what happened when you when I go to your parties. You're like, hey, what's up, Demetrius' brother? I'm like, I talked for a little bit, and I just be like, where's Demetrius?
Yeah, I do that because I have too many. It goes back to having such a large group of friends. I gotta see everybody. Yeah. That's my fault. Sorry, also my girlfriend, if you're listening, because that also happens to you a lot. All right, I think that's it. Yeah, Delaney, do you want to say goodbye to everyone?
Have a good day.
Have a great day. Good luck out there. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Tao of Indifference podcast. If you liked this episode and want more sex, dating, and relationship advice, subscribe to the Tao of Indifference on iTunes or Stitcher. Follow us on Twitter at indifferent_D and check out the blog at taoofindifference.com for more sex, dating, and relationship advice. Thank you for listening, and good luck out there.